rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
My name is Caroline Mathenge. I'm the Director, Continental Experts Limited. We have been in operation for the last 5 years, and our key business is gas reticulation and fireplaces. So what is gas reticulation? Gas reticulation is how we do piping into industries or to homes, or just like the way you have the plumbing of water done, but in this case it is gas. In terms of who our customers are, we have various types of customers. I could categorize them into two. We have domestic customers and commercial customers. In the case of domestic, we can talk about individuals who are putting their houses together. So when you're building your house and it comes to time when you need to do your kitchens, then we pipe the gas from your house to outside the house. The reason for this is to just have a safer experience in your house because your gas cylinder is seated outside. What this does for you is it saves you in a situation whereby in the event that you had a gas leakage for whatever reason that might be, then at least you'll be dealing with less risk as compared to you having the cylinder inside the house. A gas cylinder is like a small bomb. I know most people don't realize that, and unfortunately in the past, we have had a lot of houses built with the gas cylinder seated in the house. Who are the other people who use gas? Gas is also used in industries and factories. For instance, I can give you an example. You know these water tanks, the black water tanks that we are always seeing around? For them to be able to mold those tanks, they require heating. And in most cases, they are using gas these days. So the adoption of gas in this country has actually been very good. I mean, I remember back when I was growing up, I mean, every household, every grandmother's house had the 3 stones and the kuni. But the truth of the matter, these days, if you go back even to the village, there has been a big change. People have realized that gas is much better in terms of their health, in terms of ease of cooking, and when we do the gas reticulation for homes and for whatever property you have, there are some safety devices that we install to ensure that you have a safe experience in your house. So we use solenoid valves. There are many kinds of valves, but this is just one of the examples of what I have. And we also put leak detection in place. So what we do, as we do the installation, we install solenoid valves and gas leak detectors. When we install these solenoid valves, they are linked to each other with the gas leak detectors. In the event you have a gas leak in your house, the leak detector sounds an alarm and sends a communication to the solenoid valve, and at that, it shuts the line. So you are sure that there's no more gas coming into your house. And you can imagine a situation where you have a small child who had opened the gas and the line was running, then you are sure that at least you will not have a fire in your house. In domestic usage, we use gas for mostly cooking, but we are also doing gas fireplaces for homes, and we install the same features. So that we are able to maintain a lot of heat in the house where we have gas fireplaces, we put in some pebbles that hold the heat so that even when the fireplace is off, your house remains warm, especially in those cold seasons. We pride ourselves in saying that we solve modern problems. The young people or anybody who is building these days does not want to work with firewood and smoke and all that. So they prefer to have modern heating methods that do not involve smoke and are very quick to light. So we have these special burners that we use to install the fireplaces, and together in that fireplace we put some decorative pebbles that store the energy that is consumed as the fire continues to burn. So that once your house is warm enough, you don't even need to have the fireplace running all through. You can put it off and your house remains warm, especially during the cold months. Over and above the fireplaces, we have two kinds of fireplace solutions that we offer. We offer electric fireplaces and gas fireplaces. However, just for clients to know what electric fireplaces are mostly aesthetic in the sense that when you look at them with your eye, they are appealing to look at. However, the amount of heat that they dissipate is very little compared to gas fireplaces. So most people who do the installations for electric fireplaces should maybe not be in an extremely cold area, or if they really feel they need the electric fireplaces, they should be able and willing to supplement it with another form of heat. But for gas fireplaces, for sure the gas fireplace it's real fire. You are going to experience the heat that comes with the gas fireplace. In the case of commercial spaces, there's a bit of a difference because commercial spaces require gas in bigger quantities. So for commercial spaces, we use bullet tanks. I'll show you pictures of some bullet tanks since now we're in an office setup. So these bullet tanks, it depends on what the consumption is. They can start from 1 ton, or even 0.5 ton, all the way, depending on how often that tank needs to be refilled. So when they have those bulk installations in their facilities, then they receive gas by use of a bulk tanker that comes to refill the gas at their site, and then they can continue usage. In a case where we have the residence, which is say a gated community or a block of apartments, then what we do for such bullet tanks is we have meters for each and every unit, so that one is billed depending on what the usage is. So in the case where we have a gated community or a block of apartments, each and every unit has a meter installed to be able to calculate or count what the usage is per unit. And there are even two methods where you can have a postpaid meter or a prepaid meter, so that you are able to bill your customers and not have any issues. So the management company has the responsibility of, say, deciding where they are going to purchase their gas from, because the biggest advantage they have is economies of scale. Because once you buy gas in bulk, then it is not the same as having to dash and get a 13 kg cylinder. That not only offers convenience for your customers, but it also protects your house. You can imagine every month when your customer has to replace a cylinder, they go and bang the cylinder on top of your floor tile, and over time you'll find yourself having to keep on replacing that tile. In addition to that, it allows for the installer or the developer to provide those safety devices, like the leak detectors we talked about, so that he's sure that his apartment is protected. And over and above that, you don't have people in the houses cooking with charcoal and there's smoke on your walls. Yeah. And in this day and age where we have, Airbnb business, and say one has a whole block of apartments, you don't have a client calling you at night to tell you, oh, my gas is finished, because already you have taken care of that need. The best thing to do it is at the point of design. When the architect is putting together the plan, together with the MEP engineers, at that point, that is when we come in, so that, we plan the layout of the property and identify if it is a bulk facility, where is it going to sit, because they are the required distances that need to be maintained. So at planning stage, do not start building and then call us later. However, 90% of the time we find ourselves being called when people have really advanced. But I am grateful because people are starting to adopt into these new emerging technologies because they are a game changer for sure. I dream that one day our country will be able to have gas pipelines and without any issues. That is my prayer. Yes, if we have gas pipelines like the way we have water pipelines, then it will be quite easy for everyone. We will not even need those gas tanks. So what we do, we look at the floor plan of the house. We also do site visits and look at the positioning of the kitchen. Sometimes we might have to break some walls, sometimes depending on where the kitchen has been installed. But yes, it is doable. We make some changes and accommodate that, trying so much not to cause a lot of damage to the existing infrastructure. But yes, it's very important to have your gas cylinder outside the house. Especially for domestic use, we use PEX pipe. PEX pipe uses this kind of fittings that are able to seal completely so that you don't have any leakage in place. The good thing about PEX pipe, it lasts a long time. It lasts a lifetime. And when I compare PEX pipe with the other pipe that is used, which is copper, PEX pipe does not kink. So this is something that we really prefer that individuals use. However, sometimes, the customer will tell you, oh, we want to use rubber hose, or we just advise. And, sometimes you have to walk away from business. The first thing, once you identify you have a gas leak, open all the doors and windows. Do not light anything, be it a switch, a light, do not switch on anything until you're sure that the gas leak that the gas has gotten out of the house. As you continue to investigate where the leakage is coming from, depending on what the situation is, try and put off the gas cylinder if you're using a cylinder. Yes. For commercial installations, of course, we have different things that we do. But the first thing, the most important thing, if you have a gas leak, do not ignite anything. And sometimes people are not aware that even putting on a light switch is capable of causing a spark. And gas is heavier than air, so it tends to move at the bottom of the floor as opposed to going up in the air. So you can find in the event that you have a hole near where the leakage is happening, it will tend to sit in that area. So please have your gas cylinder outside. It's the safest way. So the biggest risk I find when a gas cylinder is outside is theft. And we Kenyans know very well that at least you can put a cage and have it locked, but the cage should also be well ventilated. Yes. Yes. The good thing is when the gas cylinder is outside, you see it's out in the air. Even if combustion happened, it is not in an enclosed area. So it is far much better to have the cylinder outside. Offer maintenance services. However, this varies with the kind of installation we have done. So where we have a relationship that the client wishes us to engage, we always propose those services, but it's up to the client to take up the offer. My feel is people are very positive. However, when I look at developers, particularly those who are doing big projects, they are not very keen, and my thoughts are because of the infrastructure costs. And they look back and say, I mean, I have always done this without putting up this, including this in my cost. But I think we are at a place where the clients that we are interacting with are now demanding for these services. So little by little, it is gaining acceptance. Using gas as a mode of combustion, of course, in cases where we are looking at, for example, schools and hospitals that are big consumers of firewood and charcoal, of course, we are saving the environment. We are protecting the people who use firewood and charcoal from respiratory diseases. We are protecting our environment. We are eliminating smoke, you know. And also, it is easy to use because you do not have to prepare when you want to use gas. So in case where you are going to have to use firewood, you will have to split the firewood. You do not know whether the firewood is dry or wet. It is smoking, perhaps it's gonna cook faster than you anticipated. So even in terms of your planning, yes, of course, gas is better. In terms of piping, mostly is number one, convenience, and it's a safer way of getting the gas into your property. Yes. So those are the top level things that I have in mind in terms of the advantages. And in maybe I could add one more. In a situation where you living maybe in a gated community or an apartment, then you have economies of scale because you're not buying gas at the same rate as a person buying it from a retail store. Yes. I think some of the challenges I face is being a woman in the industry. So of course you have to meet those guys and you fight within the industry, but product knowledge, every time you really have to convince the client why they need to take up this method. It is not something that they have top level. Everybody knows I need to put a roof over my head, I want to put tiles on the floor, but nobody remembers, oh, I need to put gas. But the only way we have grown is word of mouth, a lot of word of mouth because of the services that we have been offering our clients. In my past, I worked for multiple oil companies, the big shots in the industry, and at one point it was time to get out of employment, and I was not very sure of what I wanted to do with my new status of self-employment. And I got an interest on gas piping, and when I got the interests, I did not come into the business as a person who does gas reticulation. I joined the business as a woman who was importing gas tanks and bringing the gas tanks to sell. However, when I started selling the gas tanks, I realized it was very hard for me to sell the gas tanks because I did not have a name in the industry. And after about 8 months there or so, that is when I got interest of knowing how do I get this business? And that is where my interest began, and that's where I started looking for knowledge. I gathered the knowledge that I required to do this. And now It's actually more than 5 years later. It is now a story. Nobody ever envisioned this, but that is really how we began. So we don't only just sell gas tanks, now we do installations as well. Yeah. If you need these services, the first thing you do, you can call us. We will look at your plans, the plans you have in place. We might do a site visit depending on the stage your development is at. From there, we'll give you a quotation, discuss the quotation, seek the approvals that we need, if we need approvals, and then from there on, we can take on the installation process. I urge developers, architects, and any individual who is getting ready to build their house. Call us today, involve us in your planning so that you do not incur losses related to demolition as you continue doing your works, so that we plan properly and we can do your gas reticulation and you'll enjoy your stay, or whatever property you are developing will be well planned.